Welcome back, everybody. In this video I want to talk about the else-if conditional. So this is very similar to the if conditional. Even we have the if conditional, then we have the if-else conditional. Basically the if conditional, if it's true it does something, that's it. If it's false it doesn't do anything. The if-else does something if it's true, but if it's false it does something else. So the first one, if, looks like this. That's it. So basically anything within these curly braces is going to be ran. If else, you just add an else right here, curly braces, and then anything within here is ran. Now we're going to learn a new one, which is the else if. Now the way this works is it will test something. It will have an if clause, or whatever you want to call it, and then basically it's going to test it. Now if it's true, it's going to run whatever you tell it to run. If it's false, it's going to go to the else if, or another test, and if it's true, it's going to be ran. If it's not, it'll go to the third else if, or the fourth else if, or the fifth else if, however many else ifs you want. So let's illustrate this. Let's give a little example. First we have an if. Does that make sense so far? So we're making an if, and then we can close it within curly braces. I don't know where to put mine. I'm going to put mine here. I am so bad at drawing curly braces, it's not even funny. Then we have the else if. I was trying to make it darker, but I'm pretty sure I just made it more confusing. And then within new curly braces, we can have, then we have another test, so 6 equals 6. And then we have the curly braces. Anything within the curly braces is ran. Yo! Alright, so now let's look at this. If 5 equals 5, this will be printed. Echo 5 equals 5. That's what's going to show on the web browser. Well, 5 does equal 5, so this is what's going to happen, and the else if is going to be ignored. Now, if this was false, such as if 5 equals 6, well, that's false. So it's going to look, okay, well, it's not this one. Let's take a look at the else if. If 6 equals 6, well, it does. So let's echo yo. So this is what's going to happen. We can also have an else, which would then give us a final. If none of them are true, then echo, you are lame. So hopefully that makes sense. Also be sure to end with semicolons. I always forget to write mine, but it's really no big deal. So hopefully that makes sense. You can have multiple else ifs. So basically the setup is going to be if, else if, and you can repeat that as many times as you want, and then else. Very first one that's going to be tested is this one. Let's say it's false, so it's going to test this one. Oh, it's false, so it's going to test this one. Oh, it's false. It's going to test this one. Oh, it's true. Well, it's going to skip all of the rest and go to the end of after the else clause. So the else clause opens, the else clause closes. So that will end this. It'll break to the end of the conditional. Now, let's say they're all false. So this one, and this one. Well, that means the only resort is the else, which is going to run if all the others are not true. The else is optional, by the way. So if all of these come out as false, then the else is going to run. Now, also, when we're talking about short-circuiting in the last video, it will do it for this one. Just like if this one's true, there's no need to test all the other ones. So it's going to skip to the end of the program, or the end of this specific if statement. So that's the if, elseif, and the else all put together in one video. So hopefully that is all crystal clear. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment and subscribe. Yeah. Hey, I just wanted to give a quick example of what you could use the if, elseif statement for. So let's say you wanted to only certain people can access a web page. I mean, this is just a random example. I mean, it's probably not the best way to use it. I'm just giving an example so you can help understand how it works. And you say, okay, well, in order to access this web page, your name, if your name is something, so if name equals something, doesn't really matter what, do this. Or if your name equals something else, allow access. So only certain people are going to get access to this web page. The first if, let's say Caleb or Austin can get access to this web page. The first if test, is your name Caleb? If it's not, test, is your name Austin? If it's not, don't grant access, or say access denied. You can do that with multiple people. If there's 3 people, you do if it's Caleb, do this, else if it's Austin, do this, else if it's whatever, do this. Grant access each time. Hopefully that helps clear things up. Usually you will test the same variable for different values. So if you want to know if the variable x either has the value of 3, 5, or 7, well, you could use an if, else if statement. Alright, thank you. Hopefully that cleared things up. Probably not.